Have you ever dreamed of becoming rich overnight? Waking up one morning and realizing all your money worries have vanished, just like that. I lived that dream, but what happened next was a nightmare I never saw coming. This is my story, the story of how I gained the world, only to lose it all. Just a short while ago, I was Claire, just an ordinary young woman with ordinary dreams. Then, in the blink of an eye, my life was transformed. A sudden windfall, more money than I had ever imagined, landed in my bank account. It felt unreal, like a scene straight out of a movie. The numbers on the screen were dizzying, and my heart was pounding with pure, unadulterated excitement. My world didn't just change, it exploded into a kaleidoscope of glamour and luxury. Almost instantly, my social status skyrocketed. People who barely knew my name were suddenly calling me queen. My phone was flooded with messages from friends, old and new, all begging to hang out. I was the center of attention, and I'll be honest, I loved every second of it. I was drowning in validation, and it felt intoxicating. Everyone wanted a piece of my new life, and I was more than happy to share it. My philosophy became simple: spend like there's no tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did. My wardrobe transformed. I replaced my old clothes with racks of designer dresses, each one more expensive than the last. My shelves were lined with luxury perfumes, their scents filling my apartment with the smell of wealth. I felt like a princess in a fairy tale. If I saw it and I liked it, I bought it, no questions asked, no price tag too high. The thrill of swiping my card without a second thought was an addiction. The weekends became a blur of extravagance. One weekend it was a spontaneous girls' trip to a 5-star resort in Bali. The next, it was front row seats at a fashion show in Paris. We chartered private yachts, dined at Michelin-starred restaurants, and partied in the most exclusive clubs. My friends and I were living a life most people only see on Instagram. We toasted with the finest champagne, laughing as if this glorious, glittering party would never end. I was funding a lifestyle, not just for myself, but for everyone around me, and they loved me for it. I was generous, I was fun, I was the queen of our little kingdom. But kingdoms built on sand are destined to crumble. The first sign of trouble came subtly, a notification from my bank, then another. The familiar, reassuring green of a positive balance started being replaced by an alarming, heart-stopping red. At first, I ignored them. I was in denial. How could the money be running out? It seemed like an infinite well just a few months ago. I told myself it was just a temporary dip, that I just needed to be a little more careful. But the red alerts became more frequent, more urgent. The spending spree had been a whirlwind, and I hadn't been keeping track. I had been so caught up in the fantasy that I forgot about the reality of numbers and limits. The calls from my bank manager, once so friendly and accommodating, now carried a tone of concern, then outright panic. The endless stream of money had slowed to a trickle, and then it stopped altogether. The silence that followed was deafening. As quickly as the friends had appeared, they vanished. The phone that once buzzed incessantly now lay quiet. My messages went unanswered. The people who had called me queen and praised my generosity were nowhere to be found. It was as if they had all been part of the illusion, fading away as the magic of the money wore off. I was suddenly, shockingly, alone. The invitation stopped. The laughter died down. I was left in my spacious, now eerily quiet apartment, surrounded by the ghosts of my recent past. I remember one particular evening standing in my walk-in closet. It was a monument to my foolishness. Rows and rows of designer clothes, shoes, and bags stared back at me. Each item represented a moment of reckless abandon, a memory of a life I could no longer afford. I reached out and touched the silk of a dress I'd worn only once. It felt cold, meaningless. These beautiful, expensive things, which I once wore with so much pride, now felt like a costume for a role I could no longer play. They were a heavy, visual reminder of my fall from grace. In that empty closet, with nothing but my reflection staring back at me, the truth hit me with the force of a physical blow. I wasn't just broke, I was broken. I had built my entire identity, my entire sense of self-worth, on a foundation of money. And when the money was gone, I felt like I was nothing. The glamour, the attention, the fake friendships, it was all a transaction. And I had paid the ultimate price. Losing everything was the most humbling experience of my life. It stripped me of my pride, my ego, and my illusions. It forced me to look at myself, truly look at myself, for the first time. The woman who once chased glamour and external validation had to learn a very hard lesson. I learned that wealth is fleeting. It can shine brightly, attracting people like moths to a flame, but it offers no real warmth, no real light. It's a temporary glow. The real treasure, the thing that sustains you when everything else is gone, is wisdom. It's understanding the value of genuine connection, the importance of self-respect, and the quiet strength of living a life of substance, not just style. My journey back has been slow and difficult. I've had to rebuild my life from the ground up, but this time, on a solid foundation. I've learned that true richness isn't about what's in your bank account, but what's in your heart and your mind. It's about the wisdom you gain from your experiences, especially the painful ones. I may have lost a fortune, but I gained a perspective that is truly priceless. My story is a cautionary tale, but it's also a story of hope. It's a reminder that even after the party ends and the lights go out, you can find your way in the dark, guided by the light of wisdom. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to share, but I hope it can offer some perspective to anyone Ifata-Severian. If my journey resonated with you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. I'll be sharing more about what I've learned and how I'm rebuilding my life. Your support means the world to me. See you in the next video.